Book 4, Chapter 8, verses 25 to 40. The laws recorded in this chapter are extensive, so we are continuing to present them in sections for clarity and careful listening. In this portion of Book 4, Chapter 8, verses 25 through 40, Josephus records Moses' laws concerning compassion, justice, property, human dignity, and responsibility toward both neighbor and stranger. These verses reveal how Israel's law governed everyday life, from lending and restitution to protection of the poor, the disabled, and even animals. We now continue with Book 4, Chapter 8, verses 25 through 40, from the Antiquities of the Jews by Flavius Josephus. 25. Let no one lend to any one of the Hebrews upon usury, neither usury of what is eaten or what is drunken, for it is not just to make advantage of the misfortunes of one of thy own countrymen. But when thou hast been assistant to his necessities, think it thy gain if thou obtainest their gratitude to thee, and withal that reward which will come to thee from God for thy humanity towards him. 26. Those who have borrowed either silver or any sort of fruits, whether dry or wet, I mean this, when the Jewish affairs shall, by the blessing of God, be to their own mind, let the borrowers bring them again, and restore them with pleasure to those who lent them, laying them up, as it were, in their own treasuries, and justly expecting to receive them thence, if they shall want them again. But if they be without shame, and do not restore it, let not the lender go to the borrower's house, and take a pledge himself before judgment be given concerning it. But let him require the pledge, and let the debtor bring it of himself, without the least opposition to him that comes upon him under the protection of the law. And if he that gave the pledge be rich, let the creditor retain it till what he lent be paid him again. But if he be poor, let him that takes it return it before the going down of the sun, especially if the pledge be a garment, that the debtor may have it for a covering in his sleep, God himself naturally showing mercy to the poor. It is also not lawful to take a millstone, nor any utensil thereto belonging, for a pledge, that the debtor may not be deprived of instruments to get their food withal, unless they be undone by their necessity. 27. Let death be the punishment for stealing a man, but he that hath purloined gold or silver, let him pay double. If anyone kill a man that is stealing something out of his house, let him be esteemed guiltless, although the man were only breaking in at the wall. Let him that hath stolen cattle pay fourfold what is lost, excepting the case of an ox, for which let the thief pay fivefold. Let him that is so poor that he cannot pay what mulct is laid upon him, be his servant to whom he was adjudged to pay it. 28. If anyone be sold to one of his own nation, let him serve him 6 years, and on the 7th let him go free. But if he have a son by a woman's servant in his purchaser's house, and if, on account of his good will to his master and his natural affection to his wife and children, he will be his servant still, let him be set free only at the coming of the year of Jubilee, which is the 50th year. And let him then take away with him his children and wife, and let them be free also. 29. If anyone find gold or silver on the road, let him inquire after him that lost it, and make proclamation of the place where he found it, and then restore it to him again, as not thinking it right to make his own profit by the loss of another. And the same rule is to be observed in cattle found to have wandered away into a lonely place. If the owner be not presently discovered, let him that is the finder keep it with himself, and appeal to God that he has not purloined what belongs to another. 30. It is not lawful to pass by any beast that is in distress, when in a storm it is fallen down in the mire, but to endeavor to preserve it, as having a sympathy with it in its pain. 31. It is also a duty to show the roads to those who do not know them, and not to esteem it a matter for sport when we hinder others' advantages by setting them in a wrong way. 32. In like manner, let no one revile a person blind or dumb. 33. If men strive together, and there be no instrument of iron, let him that is smitten be avenged immediately, by inflicting the same punishment on him that smote him. But if when he is carried home he lie sick many days, and then die, let him that smote him not escape punishment. But if he that is smitten escape death, and yet be at great expense for his cure, the smiter shall pay for all that has been expended during the time of his sickness, and for all that he has paid the physician. He that kicks a woman with child, so that the woman miscarry, let him pay a fine in money, as the judges shall determine, as having diminished the multitude by the destruction of what was in her womb. And let money also be given the woman's husband by him that kicked her. But if she die of the stroke, let him also be put to death, the law judging it equitable that life should go for life. 34. Let no one of the Israelites keep any poison that may cause death, or any other harm. But if he be caught with it, let him be put to death, and suffer the very same mischief that he would have brought upon them for whom the poison was prepared. 35. He that maimeth any one, let him undergo the like himself, and be deprived of the same member of which he hath deprived the other, unless he that is maimed will accept of money instead of it. For the law makes the sufferer the judge of the value of what he hath suffered, and permits him to estimate it, unless he will be more severe. 36. Let him that is the owner of an ox which pusheth with his horn, kill him. But if he pushes and gores any one in the thrashing floor, let him be put to death by stoning, and let him not be thought fit for food. But if his owner be convicted as having known what his nature was, and hath not kept him up, let him also be put to death, as being the occasion of the ox's having killed a man. But if the ox have killed a manservant or a maidservant, let him be stoned. And let the owner of the ox pay 30 shekels to the master of him that was slain. But if it be an ox that is thus smitten and killed, let both the oxen, that which smote the other, and that which was killed, be sold, and let the owners of them divide their price between them. 37. Let those that dig a well or a pit be careful to lay planks over them, and so keep them shut up, not in order to hinder any persons from drawing water, but that there may be no danger of falling into them. But if anyone's beast fall into such a well or pit thus digged, and not shut up, and perish, let the owner pay its price to the owner of the beast. Let there be a battlement round the tops of your houses, instead of a wall, that may prevent any persons from rolling down and perishing. 38. Let him that has received anything in trust for another take care to keep it as a sacred and divine thing. And let no one invent any contrivance whereby to deprive him that hath entrusted it with him of the same, and this whether he be a man or a woman. No, not although he or she were to gain an immense sum of gold, and this where he cannot be convicted of it by any body. For it is fit that a man's own conscience, which knows what he hath, should in all cases oblige him to do well. Let this conscience be his witness, and make him always act so as may procure him commendation from others. But let him chiefly have regard to God, from whom no wicked man can lie concealed. But if he in whom the trust was reposed, without any deceit of his own, lose what he was entrusted withal, let him come before the 7 judges, and swear by God that nothing hath been lost willingly, or with a wicked intention, and that he hath not made use of any part thereof. And so let him depart without blame. But if he hath made use of the least part of what was committed to him, and it be lost, let him be condemned to repay all that he had received. After the same manner as in these trusts, it is to be, if anyone defraud those that undergo bodily labor for him. And let it be always remembered that we are not to defraud a poor man of his wages, as being sensible that God has allotted these wages to him instead of land and other possessions. Nay, this payment is not at all to be delayed, but to be made that very day, since God is not willing to deprive the laborer of the immediate use of what he hath labored for. 39. You are not to punish children for the faults of their parents, but on account of their own virtue, rather to vouchsafe them commiseration, because they were born of wicked parents, than hatred, because they were born of bad ones. Nor indeed ought we to impute the sin of children to their fathers, while young persons indulge themselves in many practices different from what they have been instructed in, and this by their proud refusal of such instruction. 40. Let those that have made themselves eunuchs be had in detestation, and do you avoid any conversation with them who have deprived themselves of their manhood, and of that fruit of generation which God has given to men for the increase of their kind. Let such be driven away, as if they had killed their children, since they beforehand have lost what should procure them. For evident it is, that while their soul is become effeminate, they have withal transfused that effeminacy to their body also. In like manner do you treat all that is of a monstrous nature when it is looked on, nor is it lawful to geld men or any other animals. Thus concludes this portion of Moses' laws, as preserved by Josephus, addressing justice, mercy, and moral accountability among the people. Stay tuned for the final section of this chapter, verses 41 through 49, where Moses delivers his final exhortations, blessings, and the account of his death.